Story 1. I'm very much against dating apps. Maybe it's because I'm biased after the nightmare I had with Tinder. I've only ever met up with 3 people from Tinder, and the first 2 experiences were forgettable. Nothing special. There were no sparks, no second dates, just 2 uneventful evenings. But compared to the 3rd encounter, God, it makes those first 2 look like fairy tales. I matched with a brunette named Annette. Her profile had 4 pictures, 3 of her alone, posing in what looked like her backyard, and 1 in front of a pond. At the time, I didn't think it was strange that she was alone in every photo. Who would? She was attractive enough, at least by my standards, so I decided to chat with her. Things escalated quickly, and soon she was asking what I was up to that night. When I said nothing, she asked if she could come over. Now, I live in the basement of my parents' house, which has a separate entrance. It seemed like a convenient setup, so I agreed. We set a time, and when the hour came, she texted me exactly on the dot, saying she was outside. Punctual, to say the least. I let her in through the basement door and we headed downstairs. From the moment we sat down, I knew something was off. Her answers were short, almost robotic. When I tried to make small talk and asked how long her drive was, she just laughed. Not a normal laugh. It was forced and strange, like she was mimicking what she thought a laugh should sound like. She didn't even answer my question. She just kept staring at me, her eyes wide open and unblinking. I felt my skin crawl. I needed to get her out of there, fast. I turned on the TV to fill the awkward silence, pretending to laugh at whatever was playing. She didn't look at the screen once. She just stared at me, unblinking, watching every move I made. I had to think of something, so I lied, saying I'd just gotten a text from work and needed to go in early the next day. I suggested we call it a night. She seemed reluctant to leave. Her whole demeanor screamed desperation, and it was incredibly unsettling. I somehow managed to guide her up the stairs and out the basement door. The moment she was gone, I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. But not even 5 minutes later, she texted me again. "Are you sure you have to go to bed? I was having fun." I read the message, feeling a pit of dread form in my stomach. I tossed my phone on the bed and went upstairs to get some food, hoping to clear my head. When I came back down, I had 3 more messages from her. 2 were just question marks, and the last one said, "Hello?" with more question marks. This girl was clearly unhinged. I blocked her number, thinking that would be the end of it. I was wrong. I went to bed an hour later, only to wake up in the middle of the night, like I often do. I'm a light sleeper. It's a curse. I reached out instinctively for my phone to check the time, but it wasn't where I'd left it, charging on the ledge next to my bed. I remembered placing it there clearly, so I got up to look for it. I turned on the small strip of LED lights I'd strung up along my wall. Their dim glow lit up the room just enough for me to see that my phone wasn't anywhere. Frustrated, I went upstairs to grab the landline, planning to call my number. When I dialed, I heard it ringing from inside the boiler room that's connected to my bedroom. I opened the door to the boiler room and there it was, my phone, lying on top of the washing machine, vibrating as it rang. I knew something was wrong because I hadn't done any laundry that night. I hadn't even been in that room. My hands shook as I picked up my phone and saw a string of new messages from an unknown number. I opened them and my blood ran cold. There were 2 photos, pictures of me, asleep in my bed. Above them were 2 texts. The first read, "Nice job blocking me." The second, "Lock your door next time." My heart pounded in my chest as I realized what an idiot I'd been. In my rush to get her out, I hadn't locked the basement door. I scanned the room, suddenly feeling like I wasn't alone. It felt as if she was still there, hiding, maybe behind the big, cylindrical boiler in the darkest corner of the room. I didn't have the courage to check. Instead, I ran upstairs, woke my parents, and called the police. Fortunately, she wasn't the smartest stalker. Tracking her down was easy. Her name wasn't Annette. It was Silvana. She was charged with breaking and entering, stalking, and harassment. I got a restraining order and I've never heard from her again, but I still triple-check that lock every single night. Story 2. I had tried every dating app out there with consistently disappointing results. My friend suggested I try out a newer one called Ad Pod. He'd had some luck, so I figured, why not? Almost immediately, I was getting far more likes than usual, though mostly from women I didn't find attractive. Then, amidst the sea of mediocre matches, I came across Julia, blonde, stunning, and actually engaging. Our chat was electrifying, one of those rare moments when you meet someone online who seems genuinely interested. We moved our conversation to Snapchat. I asked for her number, but she suggested we stay on Snap. It was a minor red flag, but I went along. I added her and noticed her Snap score was unusually low, under 1,000. I was suspicious. Was this too good to be true? I asked her to send a selfie, explaining there were too many catfish accounts out there. She read my message immediately, but didn't reply for a full minute. I was sure I was about to get blocked. Instead, I got a snap from her, a picture of the same blonde girl from her profile. I still wasn't convinced, so I asked for a thumbs up or peace sign. A couple of minutes later, she sent another snap, half her face, smiling, holding up a peace sign. That was enough for me. We continued chatting and eventually made plans to meet at her place. She said she was home alone and sent me her address, which was across town. I noticed she had her Snap map on, so I checked if the address matched her location. It did. I got dressed, probably overdoing it with the cologne, and headed over. She sent me a snap while I was driving, asking if I was on my way. I told her I was. She read it immediately but didn't respond. When I got to the house, I saw the number 22, just like she'd said. I messaged her that I was there, but she didn't open the snap. I decided to ring the bell. No answer. I knocked, louder this time. Still nothing. I tried calling her through Snapchat, but it just rang and rang. Was this a joke? I turned around, scanning the empty street. Just then, a voice called out from across the road. "Excuse me, what are you doing?" I glanced over and saw an older woman standing on her porch, staring at me with a mix of concern and annoyance. "I'm meeting someone," I called back. "No one lives there," she replied, her voice lower now that I was closer. "That house has been empty for months." Confused, I asked her for the address of the house. She repeated the same address Julia had given me. I thanked her, got back in my car, and tried messaging Julia one more time. My heart sank as I saw that she had blocked me. I drove home, feeling embarrassed and played. But something nagged at me. I had taken screenshots of Julia's profile before coming here, so I sent them to a group chat with some friends, asking if anyone knew her. One of my friends, Darren, responded almost immediately. "Dude, that's Lisa. She overdosed on heroin 2 years ago." My blood ran cold. Another friend confirmed it, saying he'd gone to high school with her. The snaps I'd received were identical to Lisa's pictures. I couldn't breathe, goosebumps prickling my skin. How could this have happened? Why had I been lured to that empty house? I closed my eyes, trying to process everything. Was it some twisted prank? Or had I been communicating with someone or something far more sinister? My phone buzzed, pulling me back to reality. It was a new Snapchat notification from Julia. My heart pounded in my chest as I opened it. The snap was a short video. It showed the same house, number 22, and then the camera panned to a girl standing by the front door, her face partially hidden in the shadows. She raised her hand, offering me that familiar peace sign, and then whispered, almost inaudibly, "Come inside." My hand shook as I deleted the app. Some doors once opened can never be closed, and some connections, some faces, stay with you, no matter how desperately you try to forget them. Story 3. In high school, I was just another face in a sea of students. A large graduating class meant I didn't get to know many of my classmates on a personal level. But college and dating apps offered a new opportunity to reconnect with people I barely remembered. It was through one of these apps that I matched with Maria, a girl who was in my grade back in high school. We followed each other on Instagram and Snapchat, but our interactions had been limited to a few likes and comments. Never anything personal. Curiosity led me to message her first. We reminisced about high school, laughing at how we never crossed paths or had any classes together. The conversation flowed easily, and when I suggested meeting up for a drink or dinner, she surprised me by proposing we hang out at my place instead. I hesitated, but then thought, why not? "Are your parents home?" she asked. "No, just my sister," I replied, casually dropping my address into the chat. She promised to let me know when she was on her way. The waiting game began. An hour passed without a word. I sent her a follow-up message, but she didn't respond. My heart sank when I saw her Instagram story, a meme she posted just minutes ago. She was ignoring me. Confused, I checked her Snapchat story. She was hanging out with a friend, another girl from our high school. I sent her a message, trying to play it cool. "Are you still coming over?" She opened it almost immediately. "What are you talking about?" she replied. My stomach twisted. I referenced our conversation on the app, and her response sent chills down my spine. "I don't have that app. Send me the profile." I did, and she confirmed my worst fear. It was a catfish. Someone had used her photos to trick me. I reported the profile, but it didn't ease my anxiety. Whoever this was now had my address and knew my parents weren't home. I locked every door and window, my nerves on high alert. Hours passed. My sister was asleep, and I was finally starting to relax when a blood-curdling scream echoed from her room. I bolted up, sprinting down the hall. We collided at her doorway, her face pale with terror. "Someone's outside my window," she cried. I raced to her room, but no one was there. I tried calling my parents, but they didn't pick up. We huddled together in my room, my heart pounding with every creak and groan of the house. I almost believed we were safe when I heard it. A faint noise, almost imperceptible. My sister heard it too. We both sat up, eyes wide. I locked the bedroom door and dialed 911, whispering into the phone that someone was in the house. The footsteps outside our door were heavy, deliberate. The doorknob rattled, then a furious pounding followed. A deep, guttural voice snarled, "I know you're in there. I can smell you. The operator told me to hide, so I dragged my sister into the closet, clamping my hand over her mouth as she stifled her sobs. The pounding continued, each thud vibrating through my chest. "I know you're in there." The voice growled again, laughter echoing through the thin door. My sister snapped. "The police are coming! Leave us alone!" she screamed. There was silence, then the sound of retreating footsteps. Moments later, red and blue lights flashed through the windows. I rushed to the front door, letting the police in. They searched the house thoroughly, finding the point of entry. My parents' bedroom window, accessed through the backyard awning. The intruder was gone, but the terror lingered. The police suggested we spend the night elsewhere, and we did, at my friend Joe's house. That night changed everything. I no longer trusted the anonymity of the internet. Now, I always make sure the person I'm talking to is exactly who they say they are. Because the shadows we can't see can sometimes be the most dangerous. Thanks for joining me on this journey into the night. If you enjoyed the hunt and want to see more adventures, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you want to stay updated on all our midnight mysteries, make sure to subscribe and ring that bell. Your support helps us uncover more secrets and bring you thrilling new content every week. Until next time, stay curious and keep hunting. This is The Midnight Hunt, signing off.